Jonathan Gorman from iCreative, and I just wanted to show us a couple of last minute little thoughts and tips on iOS 18. The first thing that I think is really interesting is you can now actually lock access to an app. So if you didn't want, when the grandkids and the kids are jumping on your phone and your iPad and wanting to, play games and stuff, if you don't want them going into your email or going into your text messages, it's now very easy to require Face ID to do so. So all I'm going to do is tap and hold on the Messages app, and I can see right there that I can choose Require Face ID. And I'm prompted with the screen that says, hey, if you select Require Face ID on the bottom here, it's now going to ask for your face at the moment that you launch the app. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It scans my face and activates the feature. So if you wanted to undo this and make it so that a Face ID is not required, you just do the same thing in the opposite. So I'm going to tap and hold on the messages icon and then simply select Don't Require Face ID. The next thing that I think is interesting is they've made some changes to privacy and security settings in the Settings apps. So if I open Settings and then scroll down to Privacy and Security, it now gives us an opportunity to see exactly which apps have access to all of these various bits of our personal information. So, as an example, I don't have any apps that are asking for access to my contacts or my calendars, but if I selected this contacts, it would show me all of the apps that are requiring access to the contacts. Now, when you give access to an app, because it is going to have to ask for permission, you can even select which of your contacts. So I have 9,863 contacts on this iOS device. And so I don't have to give them access to all of them. I can just give them access to maybe my only information. And that way it isn't just pulling from my entire set of contacts. So that's pretty interesting. I can also, in privacy and security, scroll down and look at what apps are tracking me just by clicking on the tracking section, which apps are using my location. You can actually give access to these apps just on a sort of case by case basis, and how much, is it never going to get access? Is it going to ask every time, or only when you're using the app is it going to be able to utilize your location? So I think that's kind of powerful and pretty easy to figure out. Now, in a completely dedicated Fun Photos tips class, I am going to be talking about the changes to the Photos app in iOS 18, but I thought it might be worth me just opening up. Once you open the app, you're going to notice that there are no more buttons at the bottom like there used to be. Now, the entire app is simply one big scrolling interface. And you've got all of these things happening now, and you're kind of confused because, it used to be a little bit simpler. And so, one thing that I do think is very powerful is you do have the ability to customize the way that this looks. So, I just wanted to show you that that is possible. At the very top section, I now have just all of my photos. I then have this area called Recent Days, People, Pinned. Pinned, by the way, is where you're going to find your favorites. Memories are created automatically. Trips are now automatically created, and it sort of looks and analyzes all my photos and times and shows me trips that I've taken in the past. Media types and utilities, very handy section. But what's really neat, and then finally I get to my albums. And at the very bottom, however, I can customize and reorder this. So if I don't want to look at recent days, I'm not really using people. Pinned collections, yeah, let's move those to the top simply by dragging on the three lines to the right of the item. I'm not utilizing memories and trips or featured photos, but media types and utilities are very handy to me, and wallpaper suggestions as well. Now, once I'm done making my changes, I simply tap on the X in the top right. And now when I scroll to the very top and go down, it looks a little bit more the way that I would like it to look. So my all of my individual photos are at the top. I have the pin section, I have my media types, I have utilities, and then I have my albums. And that really makes a lot of sense for me. One last thing, I did want to touch on this for a second. I'm going to have a much bigger video about Apple Wallet and electronic payments to support that particular class. But I did want to touch on something that I think is interesting. With the Apple Wallet, now you can put your phone close to someone else's iPhone. And if they're using Apple Cash or Apple Wallet, you can actually instantly send them cash, which I think is really pretty cool and pretty powerful. So I hope that these help, and I hope you have a great day.